Brazil's decision to transfer a limited number of M108 100 and 5mm self-propelled howitzers to Paraguay may appear, at first glance, like a routine act of military assistance involving aging equipment. In reality, it reflects a deeper logic within Brazilian defense policy: the careful use of legacy assets to strengthen regional security, reinforce Brazil's leadership role in South America, and signal a pragmatic approach to military modernization that prioritizes relevance over symbolism. Regional defense media have confirmed that Paraguay is preparing to receive 6 M108 self-propelled howitzers from Brazil, marking the first time the Paraguayan army will operate self-propelled artillery. For Paraguay, this represents a qualitative leap in land-based firepower and mobility. For Brazil, it is a calculated move that combines diplomacy, logistics efficiency, and long-term strategic positioning in the Southern Cone. The M108 is a product of the Cold War era, developed by the United States as a lighter companion to the M109 family. Armed with a 105mm gun and mounted on a tracked chassis derived from the M113 lineage, it was designed to provide mobile indirect fire support to mechanized units. Brazil acquired dozens of these systems in the 1970s, integrating them into its artillery units at a time when self-propelled firepower was seen as a key enabler of maneuver warfare. Over decades of service, the M108 proved reliable but increasingly constrained by its limited range and firepower when compared to modern 155mm systems. As Brazil reassessed its artillery doctrine and shifted its focus toward more flexible, cost-effective solutions, the M108 gradually lost relevance for frontline service. Rather than scrapping these platforms or keeping them indefinitely in storage, Brazilian defense planners opted for a more strategic alternative: transferring selected units to regional partners whose operational requirements align better with the system's capabilities. The timing of the transfer is significant. Brazil has been actively positioning itself as a stabilizing force in South America, emphasizing defense cooperation, interoperability, and confidence-building measures among neighboring states. By providing Paraguay with self-propelled artillery, Brazil strengthens bilateral military ties while contributing to a more balanced regional security environment. This approach contrasts with arms races driven by prestige acquisitions and instead focuses on incremental capability development suited to local realities. For the Paraguayan army, the M108 offers tangible advantages. Until now, Paraguayan artillery has relied primarily on towed systems, which are slower to deploy, more vulnerable during repositioning, and less compatible with mechanized operations. Self-propelled artillery introduces a new operational rhythm, enabling faster reaction times, improved survivability through shoot-and-move tactics, and closer integration with armored and motorized infantry units. Even with its modest range, the M108 represents a meaningful upgrade in terms of doctrine and training. Critically, the system's relative simplicity works in Paraguay's favor. Unlike modern digital artillery platforms that demand extensive sensor networks, advanced command systems, and high-cost maintenance regimes, the M108 can be integrated gradually. Training requirements are manageable, spare parts are well understood, and Brazil's long experience with the platform allows for effective technical assistance. This reduces the risk of capability gaps that often accompany rapid modernization efforts in smaller defense forces. From Brazil's perspective, the transfer reinforces its image as a pragmatic leader rather than an arms exporter driven solely by commercial interests. The donation or low-cost transfer of surplus equipment allows Brazil to extract strategic value from assets that no longer meet its own operational needs. At the same time, it avoids creating dependency on extra-regional suppliers, aligning with Brazil's long-standing emphasis on regional autonomy and cooperative security. This move also fits into a broader pattern of Brazilian defense diplomacy. Over the past decade, Brazil has supported neighboring countries through training programs, joint exercises, and selective equipment transfers. The goal is not to dominate, but to harmonize capabilities in ways that facilitate joint operations, border security, and crisis response. In this context, the M108 transfer is less about firepower and more about interoperability and trust. It is important to acknowledge the limitations of the M108. Its 105mm caliber offers less destructive power and shorter range than modern artillery systems, particularly those designed for high-intensity conflict. It is not a solution for deterrence against peer adversaries, nor does it represent the future of artillery warfare. However, for Paraguay's defensive posture, which emphasizes territorial security, internal stability, and regional cooperation, these limitations are acceptable. The Brazilian decision also highlights a broader trend in defense planning, the recognition that not all military value lies in cutting-edge technology. In many operational environments, especially those characterized by vast terrain, limited infrastructure, and constrained budgets, robust and proven systems remain highly relevant. Brazil's own experience in diverse environments, from dense rainforest to open savanna, has reinforced this understanding. Regionally, the transfer sends a subtle but clear message. Brazil is willing to invest political capital and material resources in strengthening its neighbors, not through symbolic gestures, but through practical capability building. This approach enhances Brazil's credibility as a security partner and reduces the likelihood of external powers filling capability gaps with less regionally aligned agendas. Looking ahead, the M108 transfer may serve as a stepping stone rather than an endpoint. As Paraguay gains experience operating self-propelled artillery, it will be better positioned to assess future needs, whether that involves upgrading existing systems, acquiring more modern platforms, or deepening cooperation with Brazil and other partners. For Brazil, this creates opportunities for expanded training cooperation, joint exercises, and even collaborative maintenance and logistics frameworks. The decision also resonates domestically within Brazil. Public debate around defense spending increasingly emphasizes efficiency, accountability, and tangible returns on investment. By repurposing surplus equipment for diplomatic and strategic gain, the Brazilian armed forces demonstrate responsible stewardship of national resources. This reinforces public confidence in defense institutions at a time when transparency and practicality matter more than displays of excess. In the broader South American context, the transfer contributes to a more stable and predictable security environment. Rather than triggering competitive acquisitions, it encourages incremental improvements aligned with actual defense needs. This reduces the risk of miscalculation and supports Brazil's vision of South America as a zone of cooperation rather than confrontation. Ultimately, the M108 Self-Propelled Howitzer is not the story's centerpiece. Brazil's strategic intent is. The transfer illustrates how a regional power can leverage legacy systems to advance modern strategic goals, combining diplomacy, military professionalism, and long-term vision. For Brazilian audiences, this episode underscores a familiar theme. National strength is not defined solely by the newest weapons, but by the ability to use existing assets intelligently to shape a more secure neighborhood. As Brazil continues to refine its defense posture in the coming decade, similar decisions are likely to follow. Each will reinforce the same underlying message. Brazil seeks leadership through responsibility, influence through cooperation, and security through pragmatic choices grounded in regional realities.